Welcome everybody to a new episode of Flower Circus Talks, already episode number 80. And today again we have a great designer from the US, Dutch born, so that's why we started with the beautiful daffodil fields which are actually already flowering in Holland. So without further ado, let's quickly get Martine into the live stream, because Martine van Velden is our guest today. Martine, welcome.
Hi.
I'm fine,
How
thanks. How are you?
you?
Yeah,
I'm good.
I mean,
Today it's a wonderful
yeah,
day.
you got some beautiful flowers around you as well.
I know. This is one of the things that's happening nowadays since I live a couple of hours away from the office, and now the office is sending flowers to me. So I had a shipment of Christmas product coming in yesterday.
Okay.
So we're doing product development for Christmas, and the product is here, and I'm working from the basement this morning to make sure everything gets ready.
Okay, great. We've got Alex from Clay already in, saying Hamburg calling.
Good morning, Alex.
Probably good afternoon already, Hamburg.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Still 9 o'clock here.
Yeah. So, but you already look awake and
Yep.
smiling. So it looks like you're a morning person.
I like an early start, and especially now it's springtime here. It's beautiful. The nights are cold, the days are warm, and I just love to do a little walk through the garden and look around before the day starts.
Yeah, and everything starts to bloom as well now in the springtime.
Yes. And of course, we don't lose our Dutch roots here, huh? So my husband is from Holland also, and he's been planting lots of daffodils, like we just saw in the movie, and he's been playing with the bulbs outside and making sure that it's all looking good.
Yeah, I've got the same here in Kiev. I mean, I've been planting crocuses as well, and then we wanted to have them between the grass, and that's my hands are still hurting and my knees.
Well, the funny thing here is 1 year you make that beautiful straight line and you put them all in line, and then the next year they come up all over the field because we have so many squirrels. They dig them up and they replant them. So your whole perfect, whatever you try to figure out over there, it's never happening because nature takes over.
Yeah, but I mean that's the great thing as well, that nature takes over.
Yes, it's the fun part.
Yeah. We've got Marcella in from Manchester, UK. We've got Barbara Blossom in from Rhode Island. We've got Marcena in saying hello. So
Hello there.
we've got Greece in, Dimitris Papadakis. So we got people from all over the world watching for you already.
I know.
Yeah,
Feels
great.
good.
Yeah,
Feels good.
for the people who don't know you, or maybe only know a little bit about you, Martina, can you tell a little bit about yourself?
Oh yes, well, I grew up on a farm in Holland. Worked on that farm all like little bitty. Martina was already picking amaryllis in the fields, and went to agriculture school and wanted to travel the world. And this, like, the profession that we have is the perfect profession to go everywhere you want to go, because if you know your flowers, you can do whatever you want in whatever country you want. So right after school, I ended up for all the Jewish holidays in Israel, and I did some work over there and learned more about the cultures and celebrated all the holidays over there. So that was pretty cool. And then right after that happened, I saw a job coming by for 3 months in the US. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to go to the US, but
But
I mean, I don't want to work at the farm at home, and it's a job. So let's go. And I'll go for 3 months, and then after the 3 months, I'll do the next step. Well, that was in 1997, and I never left. So I went from Amsterdam to Dallas, and I worked in a couple of flower shops in Dallas and training people and doing like these big old parties over there, because that's a great city to be in the party business and the events. And I did that for probably 10 years or something. And then I saw a job coming up in Miami, and it was a whole different world. I didn't know anything about supermarket sales, carnations, because I came from this super fancy high society job.
yeah,
But this job came with travel, and I like to travel. So I jumped in that plane and I went to Florida, and that's where it all started.
Okay, yeah, that escalated quickly from 3 months and or maybe
I
the
know.
rest of your life even. So,
My joke is always like, I forgot to go home. I've
yeah,
been, I forgot to go home. And after a couple of years, I was like, you know what? I want a husband, but I want a Dutch one. So I went back to Holland. I picked up one, and I came
yeah,
back here, and now we have a small little Dutch family here in the middle of North Carolina.
yeah. So you picked up your husband in Holland and went back.
Yeah, I took him off the auction floor.
I mean, that's a great way to get a husband.
Yes, yes. It was an interesting situation. But
But
10 years later, we have two children and a lot of fun.
oh yeah, that's great to have a small Dutch family. And Marco
Yes.
saying greetings from Jaap and Dirk. Yeah,
Well, that's who I'm talking about.
yeah. Louise is saying hi, my friend from Cyprus. Kirsten van Dijk is saying lucky USA. Jan Haaksman is in as well.
Hey,
Lovely to see you.
always good to see Jan. It's
Yeah,
been too long ago. COVID is making changes to everybody's life.
it's unbelievable. I think it's been 2 years almost. I've seen Jan for the last time.
I know, it's, yes, week 35, 2019, I think. That's the
Yeah,
last time.
it's unbelievable. But it changed your job as well radically. I mean, you went to the flowers, and now the flowers are coming to you, as we can see now.
Yes, and it's interesting because I decided a couple of years ago to move away from Florida because we wanted to have our four seasons back and some more simplicity to life. And so we moved to North Carolina, and the situation was that once or two times a month I would fly to Florida to work on product development there for a week, and all the product would go to Florida, or I would go to Colombia and work there. But I have not been in a plane since they closed the country, because I remember a year ago I was in Colombia, I was doing product development, and that's when the pandemic started. So the first, I jumped on a plane the next morning thinking
Yeah,
I'll be back in a month, but that's more than a year ago now. I'm lucky that we supply all the supermarkets and that I have a Ingles supermarket 5 minutes away from my home, and we supply them. So I can just easily get the product. They ship my boxes over there. I'll pick them up. I have a big basement under the house, and that's where I do my work now. It's
yeah,
it's weird, but it works.
yeah. So your neighbors buy one bunch of flowers in the supermarket, and you get out of the supermarket with 5 boxes.
I pick up 30 boxes. I'm like, hey. And then I have a couple of hundred bouquets sitting in the, or 100 bouquets in the basement, and they already know me. And whenever I'm finished with the project, I donate the product to the food banks and to the schools. And it's like I have a flower shop down under.
Yeah,
Funny, but it's nice because you know what I've learned in the last year a lot is that it makes people so happy to give them a bunch of flowers. It's
yeah,
especially if, because in my situation I'm able to give them away. I'm in an area where there's not like a huge amount of money available for products like that. So they're very happy. I see these smiles. It's just a simple bunch of flowers. The smile that you get, especially now when COVID is just not the best thing for everybody. So it's nice to get a little bit of love in a bunch of flowers.
yeah. In the normal times, people already had a big smile when they got flowers, but now it looks even bigger, the smile.
I know I get all these thank you notes from these organizations, and it's interesting. It's nice. It's
Yeah,
nice that little thing can do so much.
yeah. Talking about people you haven't seen for a long time.
Oh
Yaritza saying,
wow!
hi, Martina, from Yari. Now I'm in Missouri. Long time no talking to you. It's nice
Wow!
to see you
Yeah.
shine.
Oh, it's good to see you. Yes.
So, yeah, you can see this is a way to meet people as well.
I know, it's great. We worked at Deco Reps together many years ago.
Okay, so maybe it's time to get the drinks as well. Maybe it's a little bit early for you, but
Right.
I'm almost ready for my Friday afternoon beer.
That's, oh, yes, sounds good. With a
Yeah,
bitterballetje bij.
yeah. Actually, we don't have them here as well. So
Oh,
it's
nope.
yeah. Some of the things you from Holland you want just to have, and but yeah, it's not everything's possible.
No, no, but something else comes
That's
back for
totally
it.
true. So yeah,
Yeah.
not traveling, and yeah, I mean the designing part. How do you do it? You get the flowers in and you send them back, or
No, the way it works is I get the flowers in and I play with them. I take a not so professional picture, but I write down all the recipes. And a lot of times, what I do when that's done, then I send that recipe to Bogota or to Medellin, where our facilities are, and they redo it and they take the professional pictures. And then we do the quoting, and then the marketing team, together with the marketing team, we start promoting the product and build the flyers that we do.
yeah,
So it's not like I do it from a different location, but I've always been doing my design for 80% behind the computer because the numbers have to be right.
yeah. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. The calculation, the numbers have to
Yeah.
be right. I think that's maybe also the biggest change between working in a flower shop or a high-end market and doing it now for the retail.
It's a whole different world because in the flower shop, you just, there's 3 stems extra, you just stick it in a bouquet because you don't want to throw it away at the end of the day. Here, the 3 stems become 3 billion stems in sales, so you can't just mess around with these bouquets. It has to make sense.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, talking about big numbers.
Yeah, so no, there's no option there.
I remember working in retail in Holland and also first selling to wholesalers and talking about one box of this, one box of this, and then talking about trailers of tulips.
I know. It's different.
Yeah, but I mean, it's some florists think, yeah, it's just a bouquet, but I think it's top sport to make bouquets with a certain budget as well. And while I mean, a lot of florists they are very artistic, but forget to count stems, time, the greens. That's something. I mean, that's what I noticed in Dutch flower shops. Ah, the greens are for free.
Yes. Yes, it's like you gotta go like, and the other thing that you always have to think about is like that really beautiful carnation new variety or something like that, because there's these really beautiful ones. You cannot put them in every bouquet because if you sell every bouquet, there's no production at the farms because you just picked the latest and the greatest, or you just took a new pom pom. It takes time to develop the product at their
Yeah,
end also, and that's like building a bouquet for the mass market is more like logistics around the product and the availability and how many do we have in the field. And so I love working in the flower shop because you know how it goes in Holland. That big old truck pulls up on the store,
yeah,
you pick flowers, it's seasonal, and it's perfect world. Everything is perfect world, and if one stem breaks, you have a complaint and you get a new one. It's a great situation to be in, but what we do is, yeah, you got to do more background research.
yeah. And I think this time was even more challenging with there's such a demand for flowers.
Yeah, it's a different world at the moment. It's for like a year ago, and we saw the movies in Holland, like buy flowers, not toilet paper, and all these sad stories about the growers that had to throw away their product. I think we're in the total opposite position right now. There is um, COVID made people buy more flowers, and we need more flowers because we're sending flowers to the nurses. We're appreciating people that do jobs that are in the first line help, and we're selling so much, like probably 3 times more flowers than we ever used to be do, and so the farms are getting empty. It's just how easy it is. Normally you have a cooler full of inventory, and now there's nothing. They're empty.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I had a meeting with the UK florist just before their Mother's Day,
Yeah.
and they were also saying, okay, it's so expensive, and what do you use, and how can we keep the prices of the bouquets down? And some of the people actually suggested to use hydrangeas as a cheap filler, then you can imagine how crazy the market is at the moment.
That's a nice cheap filler. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, especially the US, in like when you go in Holland, every family is used to buy a bunch of flowers and put them on the table, like if it's 10 roses or something simple. The US is not a country where people are used to buy flowers for their own home. You buy flowers because you give it away. And the trend has changed this year because everybody's working at home. So you buy a bunch for your neighbor who is at home and needs some support, and you buy a bunch for yourself because you're home anyway and now you can enjoy it. So it's pretty easy to make the calculations why we don't have flowers right now at farms. It's just the whole buying habit has changed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I love to joke with my friends, and I said, okay, we're all like elderly people. We're sitting home all day and watching the bouquet, and look now, this lily is opening, and the tulip is growing, and this is
Yeah.
happening in the bouquet, and we really enjoy it as well. So next week we will buy a new bunch, or in 2 weeks we
Yeah.
will buy a new bunch.
I mean, it's a great way to introduce flowers to people.
Yeah,
It's
it
great.
was a long time. All the how shall I call them in a nice way? All the people were thinking about how can we get the young people to buy flowers.
It's happening now.
Just get a pandemic, and then young people will start to buy flowers.
It's happening. It's maybe a little bit of a different way of buying than 10 years ago. It's like 10 years you wanted a big full bouquet and it was all, um, it was very flowery. Right now, the younger generation wants a little stem here, a stem there. But we're buying flowers and that's what all that matters.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a trend, and then in Europe you see the dried flowers, and the younger people who are buying the dried flowers, they see it for the first time. They can't
Yeah.
even remember because it was probably their grandparents who had the dried flowers in the last trend 30 years ago.
Yes.
So
It's uh, it's also a different budget. But it's nice. It's nice to hear people talk about flowers. I went over to a friend's house this week, and they were explaining me how beautiful their Oriental lilies were, and how great they smelled, and how they opened. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Everybody needs flowers in their life.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there are so many studies that prove that already for so many years. Actually, we never used those studies to tell people, look, this is what's happening with you when you have a bunch of flowers, or when you have plants at home.
Yes, but that's some of the stuff that we like to put also in our like when we do our marketing. It's nice to put that in there. Like, how do you get more? What is the color of flowers doing to your emotional being? It's
Yeah,
colors, and I think also, for example, Pantone came up with these new colors this year, the yellow and the gray, and um, they really jumped on this whole COVID situation. It's like we need yellow for hope, we need gray for balance, and they come with a whole, and we take that information to build our campaigns for the flowers. And there's no gray flowers, but you can bring that whole theme into whatever you're doing, and you support the people with that.
yeah. I mean, I love the Pantone colors this year. I mean,
Yes, I like it. I like yellow.
I think they're spot on at this period.
It's nice, and yes, I mean yellow is always there, but it's never like highly appreciated there. And now having all the focus go to yellow, there's so much yellow, beautiful product, and it
Yeah.
makes you happy.
I mean, I can't even understand in Holland yellow is only there for Easter time, and the rest of the year it's
I
almost
also
impossible
liked
to sell.
I liked it when Christmas was over and then January came and the forsythia came in and you put the forsythia into the tulip bunches. For me, January was a typical yellow month in Holland in the flower shop.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful, but yeah. I mean, the most famous tulip or the biggest tulip around the world now is a yellow one. So we should
Which one?
use more yellow.
Which one is it?
Strong gold.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Kirsten van Eyck is asking, do you find the bigger blooms being grown are helping you with the bouquet costs?
Not always, because the bigger blooms are also the more expensive blooms. So I can have three palms versus one cabbage, and so I do it in my bigger bouquets because it fits in the cost, but I cannot take a bigger bloom for a 7 stem bouquet.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
Yeah.
You were talking about emotions and colors, and you have got a great floral trend book, which I want to share as well. And then finally, I will hide my face so people have a better sight to look at. And there we go. There we have,
There we
and
go.
we do it
Yes.
like this.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, it's magic. It's Flower Circus, so I can change all the screens and everything.
Pretty advanced this. Don't ask me to do it.
Yeah, I will not ask you. I will do this. Now I can
Okay.
pull some crazy faces as well. Nobody sees it, so
So yeah, this is an example of how I like to work. Is I like to come up with a theme, and this theme was created honestly by my son, who is 9 years old, and he likes to dress up and he loves colors. And one day he comes downstairs and he has red pants and a yellow shirt, and he has so much color going on. I'm like, whoa, happening here, man? It's like, are we having a party at school? It's like, well, I'm just so energized by colors. And I started to think, and I realized, it's so true. This little kid says it in his own words, and it's so true. We need color to get energy, and so I started to dive more into the stories behind the colors, and this is how this brochure was created. And it gives you a little. I grouped up my different color mixes and match it up with the sleeves and the packaging. And we have a great choice of packaging companies in Miami. There's like 4 or 5 companies that are great to work with. A couple of European ones, a couple of Colombians, and they always help whenever you need the product. So here we go with the energizing mix. These are the colors that totally will brighten up your days. The neons and
only looking at the pictures, it already brightens up your day.
I know it's pretty bright.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, I like it. I like it a lot actually.
Well, and that's the fun part about this job. It's not always about what you like. It's more like I make a lot of things that I'm not really, it's not my taste, but you got to be able to make products for everybody. And you have to forget about your own personal feelings in these bouquets. And I can tell you, not everything in here is something I would buy, but it fits the program and it gives you a beautiful case in the stores.
And I think also it depends on the state or it depends on which part of the country. I remember my uncle had 2 flower shops and they were 50 kilometers apart. And at the end of the day, we were calling each other and they said, we've sold all the pinks and the blues. And we said, we sold everything because except for
Yeah.
the pinks and the blues. So,
So, like, if we ship to New England in these places, that's more the pinks and the blues. And if you go to the borders, south of the borders, it's like they like bold and even tinted flowers, and they want color.
yeah.
It's also a warmer climate, so you want more color into your house. And especially during fall, if you go up north during fall, you can sell these typical dark fall bouquets that are beautiful. But if you go to the south, it's a different type of fall that they don't even know what fall leaves are. It's
Yeah.
just do orange and yellow, and it doesn't have to be dark.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, also with the sleeves and everything there as well, which fits the colors great.
Yeah.
But also to calm down a bit. I don't know about you, but when I was traveling, I was just relaxed when I was in the plane. My phone wasn't ringing. I couldn't check my email. That for me was some, yeah, calming down in an airplane.
I love being in a plane because all of a sudden you can't do anything anymore. And you're just sitting there and you just wait for your next thing to happen. But no, I like the plane for me is a zen moment. Yes.
Yeah.
And here you see like the softer tones, the muted tones, they have a more calming effect when you just look at it. It just doesn't don't jump in your face.
It's beautiful with some blooms in it, santinis in it,
Yeah.
veronicas.
And this is the fun part because the company I work with now, I work for Bouquet Collection. We're part of the Queen's Group, and we have our own breeder in the house, and it is so nice. They're having also Dutch backgrounds. They know exactly what they're doing. But you'll see here in that far the top right bouquet, you'll see a couple of their new varieties. And because we work so close with them, we have first dip in whatever is new and coming from that farm. So one of my jobs would always be to go visit Icon and to just walk through the fields with them and give opinions about what you think about the new colors. And that was always probably one of my favorite things to do. Just go to. I come from a farm and I like to go back to a farm. I just like the smell and I like to walk through.
Yeah, I mean it's so great to go through the farm and talk with the breeder as well because you get a total different opinion and they look in a totally different way
Yeah,
uh, on flowers. They look at the stem and how many flowers are on there and that the
yeah.
last flower leaf is pointing the right way.
It's a whole different process, and it's also because these farms are in Colombia, you're dealing with a whole different culture there, and they don't come to the US. So you're also a bridge between what they think would work in the US and what really is happening, because it's just different cultures, and they like their colors also a little bit more bright than what we do here. So you gotta work together, all together, to get this product happen.
So actually you're a floral translator from Holland.
I'm just one big identity crisis. I don't.
I think on your business card, floral translator looks better.
Yeah, I think they take that more personal, but more professional. Yes, that
Yeah.
would work better.
So the happy mix, but it's if you leave the name happy mix and calm mix and energizing mix, if you ask people to give it a name, the mixes, they will come up with these words.
Yeah,
I
it's so
mean,
true.
it's 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 an art to translate the happy into a bouquet or the whole feeling into a bouquet.
It is, but I've been doing it for a while, so that helps.
Yeah.
like, like I see a comment here, like Kristen van Dijk is saying it's a dream job. Yes, it's a dream job. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to do this because not one day is the same day, and it's not your typical desk job, but it's also not all day long on your feet. The traveling makes it fun because I travel to Colombia, but also travel to customers. So you see the whole circle. You see the start of the flowers, but you also see the sales in the store, and it's just a little bit bigger than the retail world.
Yeah, I mean it's really a dream job, and sometimes I always say a nightmare is also a type of dream when you
Oh
have delays and everything, or when there's an exhibition happening and you don't have any flowers and things like that.
yeah, so true. Oh yeah, I went to one of these PMA shows. This was probably 10 years ago, and I prepared all the bouquets in Miami. Everything was done. Everything was ready. We shipped it. It looked beautiful. This is the one year that I decided not to go to the show itself, and the flowers arrived at the show. And these big conventions, it's nobody knows what flowers are because whatever. Next week it's another show, so
Yeah.
they took the flowers and they told them just keep them cold, put them in the coolers. Well, they kept them really cold. Kept them cold, and the next day we had frozen flowers, and so I had to rush to Louisiana and help out, and there was a couple of other designers over there from different companies, and they all pulled it together. But I mean, that's your biggest nightmare, that all your product is burned because it's been frozen, and he's just big ice clumps of water. It was so sad. It was so sad, but hey, it happens and you fix it.
Yeah, I mean you have to be creative, and not only with flowers, just with the solutions as well.
And that's when you see it. You pull, like, every designer works for a different company, but we all know each other, and you pull it together, and you just work a couple of hours longer, and
Yeah,
it
I mean
doesn't matter anymore who works for who. It's just fun.
I think in the end, if you're lucky if this year you don't have any problems, but for sure it's your colleague who's having problems, and that it's your turn next time probably, or the year after that, or the show after that. So helping out is the least you can do.
Yes, it is, and you got to be able to improvise and not to be too much of a control freak. Because if you're a control freak, it's not happening. Oh, whoops.
Yeah. I've got a global idea how it's going to look, but
There will be flowers. That's the answer.
yeah, that's the same with the flower circus as well. And then I said, okay, it's good that we have a designer in our stand all the time, so the stand changes anyway.
Yes.
So next time, if you need help, Kirsten is saying I'm fluent in Spanish. If you need help, so
I'm not, so I can use some help there in that
yeah.
department.
But Jan Haaksman is not fluent in Spanish as well, so
No, but that's makes it even more challenging and more fun to go. And there's always people over there that can help out.
yeah. But yeah, like you said, it's not only just making bouquet, it's translating from the breeder, and also bring your ideas or how the market works at the moment or what people like, to bring that to the breeders, and keeping in mind that it takes the breeders a couple of years to fulfill your wishes. It makes it even more difficult.
Yes, and also keep in mind that because we have a European background doesn't mean that that's what we want here. And I
Yeah.
made mistakes in the beginning because I was all about the latest and the greatest trends in Europe, but you got to keep in mind it takes 3-4 years before it's here. And some of the programs in the first years when I developed them, they came way too early. And if I see them now, I can still use them because it's current, and plus they rotate throughout the year, so you can just pull back from your 10 years
Yeah.
back. But it's really important that you know the country that you're working for and that you understand the needs. And like you said, the different areas in the country are interested in different things. And yeah, don't be too Dutch.
Yeah. And did you see during the pandemic, or now that the whole way of people looking at flowers and what they like, that it changed as well, colors or shapes or
Besides the fact that everybody starts to buy flowers, you see, of course, the bright colors. Like when the negative comes in, people want positive. So you sell a lot of bright colors. Um, I think it's also a great time to introduce new product because they finally have time to look at it. Um, I've also learned by living in this area that I was used to areas where people know product,
yeah.
but like carnations and alstroemerias are good enough. It doesn't have to be super exclusive to make people happy. And I just see flowers everywhere. You go to Costco, and which is one of our big box stores. You
Yeah.
go, people there used to be like limited 10 bunches per customer. They had to bring that down to 5 bunches per customer because they can't deal with the volume anymore. And that's things that I see here right now.
Yeah. And one of the things I learned also working for a breeder, you come up with new things, but a lot of people don't see the new things, and for them the first time they see it, it's new. So if a
Yeah,
variety is already on the market for 10 years, it doesn't matter. If they see it for the first time, for them it's new.
it's so true. Yes. And one of the things that I also noticed over the last year is because everybody's home, and I mean, I'm a victim of it too, is we're all growing flowers in our own backyard.
Yeah.
So they also learn to look at this, like the start to finish, and like it's amazing to stick a seed in the ground and you get a flower after a couple of months. And you see a lot of people do that. You see a lot of local farms. I have a lot of farmers market here, and there's not one farmers market that has my bouquet on it. It's all pulled from backyards and a piece of paper around it, and it's nice. I love seeing it. How people get creative with some grasses and
Yeah.
like what do you think? I forgot the name. Marigolds. They put the marigolds in and zinnias and things like that. And of course bright colors, happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a trend coming back, of course. It was a long time ago. People were just picking from their gardens as well. Uh, but now it's in a different way. People look at Pinterest, people look at Instagram, they get some inspiration, and I mean, the way they sometimes pack their flowers, it's it's of such a high level. It looks so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it's also important for everybody to know because they look at you, especially when I go to these visit customers, they're intimidated by being like, there's the designers, you can do it. And what I like to say is everybody can design. You can all design. Just let it go and get flowers and just make mistakes. And after a while, you can design. Everybody can cook, everybody can design. It's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and if you want really something really special, then you can go to a specialist.
Yeah,
I,
I yes, that's what I say. And that's why I like to focus a lot on customer bunches where you can just go pick whatever you like and take it home, find your face, play with it, because that's switch in the brain from being a computer nerd and sitting there all day long and playing with numbers. Just play with these flowers for a little bit and start thinking a little bit and reprogram your brains, and we can all do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's sitting behind a screen and got their brains fried at a
Yeah.
certain moment, and it's really nice to do something else which helps you as well, because you make a nice bouquet and then you look at it for the rest of the week or 2 weeks, and you think, I made it myself.
Yes. And how does that make you feel? That makes you even feel better. And
Yeah,
it's perfect and it's not maybe not touched by a designer, but you got something cool on the table and it makes you feel good. And now that flower has a double function, it's beautiful and it made you feel good by putting it together.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy and or crazy. It's great, and I think those people who start buying flowers, young generation, will continue to buy flowers as well for many
Yes.
many years.
And they make their picture and they Instagram it and they will show the world that like the younger generation is not shy. It's a little less humble. So
Yeah,
throw it on Facebook, they put it on Instagram, they have a selfie, they do the whole thing, and it's a different generation, and they love to share.
yeah. You can see the younger generation, if they buy a bouquet, it directly has to shine already.
Yeah,
They don't buy a bouquet with lilies that are still closed.
no,
Older generation will think they're still closed. I want to see them open, and the
that's
younger generation thinks I need to have a bouquet that's already open, because when I give it away, it's a selfie and it's directly on Instagram, directly the wow effect.
well. I also worked in a flower shop in London for a while. I worked for a lady called Paula Pryke, and she was amazing. This was like fresh out of school. I went over there and I came in Holland. We want our our flowers to be tight, closed,
Yeah,
last 5 weeks, and not
at
too much.
least.
So I went to the opposite side of this whole situation. You go to London and it was a fancy flower shop, and every flower was £3 or more. And um, the lilies have to be open, and it has to be very beautiful and heavy and big. And it also depends on the culture where you are, how they want their
Yeah.
flowers. And I noticed that like Holland will always be, well, I don't know how it is right now, but in my days, tight, 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 so that we can enjoy it as long as possible.
Yeah, actually, that tight that sometimes you even have problems with the face life as well, because it's not always good for a flower to be so tight.
No, I like an open cut a little bit better than all that tight stuff.
Yeah. Well, Alison is saying Paula Proik was and is amazing, the queen of the color.
Paula Pike is
Yeah.
good. It's a good
Uh,
experience.
yeah.
Yes, very colorful. Great colorful experience. And if you come from a tiny little town in Holland and you land when you're like 18 years old in that flower shop, that was a beautiful experience.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Alice, Alison is in again. She's saying, "Hi guys, it must be Friday," but she was yesterday. We were live as well. She was a bit disorientated.
You get
Yeah. So yeah, it's. But how do you think after, let's hope this will finish soon, the whole COVID crisis? We just mentioned already that we think the whole young generation will keep on buying flowers, but do you see more things evolving or changing already?
Like you said, I hope that we can keep the memento and keep buying flowers. And what I think see happening is we all learned that we don't have to be in the office 24/7.
Yeah.
So even we're never going to go back 100% to how it was, and people will work more from home and enjoy more the life at home. So, and when you do that, there will always be flowers. It will always be part of life.
Yeah.
And yes, they're going to go have some food outside the house and they're going to spend money on the things that are coming back. But I think I mean, you don't have to spend $25 on a bouquet. You can buy something for the 10 and just enjoy. I think this trend will not change anymore.
Yeah. And I think as well, seeing now people for the second spring doing their garden again. I mean, if they don't do it next year when hopefully everything's over, they will miss it for sure.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
like you said, you don't have to buy 25 pounds or dollars or euros worth of bouquet. If you have a nice garden, you pick some greens out the garden, you get some flowers from the shop or from the supermarket, and you can combine them yourself.
You will, and I hope. Yeah, I would like to see that trend will stay. I think you got to be careful as a farmer if you produce this product. Like, how much do you need to extend to supply the market? Because I think for maybe some of the companies, it's also nice to have an empty inventory cooler instead of having thousands of boxes sitting there. And you walk through an empty cooler right now. I think if you own that company, that would feel pretty good because it's clean. And if a clean cooler means that there's no product at the farm and that everything is on the road.
Yeah, and I think it's also good if we look back many years ago, the prices of flowers are still the same. So that's something really strange as well. It doesn't matter what you buy except for flowers, it all got more expensive.
Exactly, and it's always about the stem count, and it's always about that balance. And flowers are not always getting the money for what they should get.
Yeah. On Guns is asking, is a good professional floral education no longer an option? Everybody can put flowers in a pot. There are some basic rules. Not everybody can design, but everybody can enjoy flower arranging. Can I answer that one
Yeah,
first?
yeah,
I think Anne is a woman from Belgium. A lot of women can do their own nails. Give them any color they want. But if they want to have it done right, they spend probably $50 or even more to go to a specialist, so the specialist can do their nails. I think it's going to be the same, or it has to be the same with flowers as well.
I think so too. I mean, if you expand the business, if you want to be a shop or if you're an event planner, yes, you need your education and you need your basics. I think it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to be a great painter, you paint from your heart, but it's nice to know the basics of how to use colors, how to use your paints, where to place the position on the paper and start. I totally agree that you need some basic education when you take bigger. If you are at home and if you have flowers in your garden, you should not be intimidated by designers and you follow your heart because design is following who you are and let go of a lot of limitations that you have. So it all depends on what level you want to be. I'm happy that I did my education because it got me where I am right now. But
Yeah.
don't look up at all these big designers, and you can do it. Everybody can put flowers in water and make you feel happy.
Yeah, but making it special and making something else, and like we just saw, making an energizing mix, and without showing the name, everybody would call it an energizing mix. I
Yeah.
mean that's the part, and also how to treat the flowers, which one you can put together, all those things makes you stand out.
Yes.
Uh, But I think it's not only in the floral industry that people are trying things out as well. I mean, look at I forgot it, the taxi business, how that changed with all the Uber and all the other ones coming up. I think the whole world
Yeah.
is changing.
Look at the food boxes that are getting delivered right now with the recipes in it, and chefs are making the recipe, but they're not saying you can't make this without me. They write down the recipe, they tell you how to put it in your pan, and you can cook a really good meal.
Yeah,
Go to school for that. So, but you like it's nice to have the help. And we have programs where we tell exactly like take this stem, cut it at this length, put it in a vase this size, and it creates the feel good moment.
yeah, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Kirsten van Dijk is saying the floral farm to table culture in the US is growing. Floral holidays are becoming common. CSAs are booming. What are your thoughts on this?
Um, well, with the amount of flowers that we need right now, we need a little bit help from the local people. So it's a market for everybody. And the supermarkets will never be able to hold inventory on local grown products because it's too complicated to get everywhere.
Yeah,
Uh, I would say there's a market for everybody, and let's do it. Let's do it. Bring flowers everywhere.
yeah, and spread the love.
Just get it going.
Yeah. Alex is asking, do you see the revival of green plants, trendy, exotic, long-lasting, just as much in the US as we do in Europe? And will that have an impact on cut flowers and bouquet sales?
Well, I see a lot of plant sales, and also the plant farms are getting empty right now. Um, I don't think it competes because it's a different product, and I think it's the same thing as I said before. We need products, so and if it's green, it's alive. Let's bring it in the houses and help each other. So I don't see competition in that area.
Oh, it's double up, and that's why everybody sold out.
I don't know that like you always make these scenarios like what's going to happen if 1% of the whole population is going to buy more flowers. Well, and how can we make that happen? Well, we made it happen, and it's probably more than 1%. The farms are not ready for it. So let's get fresh local flowers, get potted plants. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's create nature in house.
I remember one tulip grower in the north of Holland. He was always saying, if everybody listens to each other and the whole chain is ready for it, we can put a greenhouse over the whole of the north of Holland because we can't get enough tulips.
There you go. Yes.
But of course, this is, I think, extreme what's happening now. People can't spend, if they have the money, they can't spend it on some other things which they normally do. So they spend it on flowers. But I think it's almost, we're talking a year, more than a year. So it's in people's system as well now, buying flowers for themselves.
And that you would not have gotten there if it only lasted a month. But
Yeah.
now, like it always takes a couple of weeks to make a change to a habit. It took a year. We passed that line, and are doing this for a year now. So we created a new habit.
Yeah, and I mean that's great. That's the positive thing for the floral industry of this pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, and there's more industries that are benefiting from like it's interesting to see. Like on one hand, you see that people are out of jobs because the business is not picking up, but there is crazy like industries that you didn't know about that are going crazy. I have my local food supply. I have a delivery here. It's called Mother Earth Food, and it's a CSA style company, and you pick your food box and you pick from the local suppliers, and it's a really great system, and it was really awesome before pandemic. But during the pandemic, they needed to buy new vans. They needed to set up a bigger network. Because everybody decided not to go to the supermarket anymore, and
Yeah.
these companies grow really fast right now.
Yeah, everything's changing, but it's changing faster. I mean, 20 years ago, telling people I'm buying my shoes or my clothes online, the people will tell you we're crazy.
Amazon was a weird thing, and right now Amazon is giant.
Yeah, I mean, it's the richest person on earth. I just read.
Yeah, and I see him every day.
You're waving, and you want some flowers.
Drive by every day. Yes.
That's great. So it's your neighbor.
Yes. Oh no, but I buy everything off Amazon because we're far from everything, so it's easy to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean that's it's just the comfort or so easy, and it's people are willing to pay for it.
Absolutely, and especially also again in the beginning of the pandemic, they would deliver the supermarket stores. They would deliver Whole Foods food. So you just place an order through Amazon, and they would deliver it.
Yeah, I mean it's great.
Yeah.
So Martina, I think next time we need to do this in person and with a
I
drink.
I do like that. So where are we gonna do it?
Let's hope soon.
And where?
In US, of course.
Oh,
But I don't know where. Maybe Colombia. We can go. I don't
yeah,
know when Jan is there. Maybe we can visit Jan.
week 35. I hope it's gonna happen, Jan.
Yeah, everybody's is hoping that. So, but for sure. I mean, yeah. Let's hope this quickly is over. And I mean, it's great talking to you and seeing you and all the people are glad to see you as well.
Thank
Uh,
you for me. It was a pleasure, and
yeah.
I've faced coming by many times, and it's different when you're part of it. But thank you.
Yeah. It's then you need to talk and.
I know never a problem talking.
Yeah, you need to talk. You can't just go to the toilet and run away. And
I had to say nobody walks in that door. Do
yeah,
not come because get in trouble.
yeah. But they can come in soon. So great. Thank you for joining with Flower Circus Talks. Like I said, hope to see you soon. Everybody, thank you for watching and
Thank you.
stay safe.
Thank you.